Hello everybody, my name's Tony and today I'm going to be demonstrating how to colour a stamped image using some alcohol markers. The reason for the demonstration is to show you how you can get depth from something that looks quite flat to start with, and when you add colour, 3 shades of colour, you can get something that actually pops from the page. When I colour my images, I always go light to dark and dark to light. This is how I have found it to be easier to start with, and this is how I've progressed as a colourist. So I start with the light colour first and I colour pretty much one petal at a time. I then move on to the second colour and I blend it from the centre out. The centre of flowers are always darker. And then to intensify the beginning of the petal, I add the dark colour. And then once I've added the dark colour, I then blend it back out. I go back to my middle shade, pull the dark back into the middle colour. And then I use my lightest colour to finish the petal. This gives my petal depth. What you'll find with alcohol markers is they take some time to absorb and disappear. So once you've looked at the image and done one petal, move on to the next, and then you will find it looks completely different once it's dry. Once the alcohol evaporates, it will be blended beautifully. So again, second petal, move on to my second colour, the lightest colour all over, and then the second colour. And then the darkest one in the centre, working out towards the tip of the petal. Always go with the lines on the petal. If the lines are beveling to the left, then you should take your colour to the left. If it's going to the right, then you should drag your colour out towards the right. Never work in the opposite direction to the lines that are on there, because they are there to aid you and they will give you the areas where you should have good light and shade on a petal. So as you can see, I'm going to just do each individual petal working from light to dark and then blend it out dark to light. If you are already a colourist and you know this, you may not use 3 colours like I do. I just find it an easier option to go from light to dark and then dark to light. I feel it gives good coverage when I'm colouring. Once I've done the dark colour, I then move on to another petal and let that one dry, and they always seem to dry a little bit lighter than you originally start out. So once you add that dark colour, don't be scared of it, just give it a go. The dark colour will jump out at you, but once the alcohol evaporates from the pen, the colour will seem flatter and blend better into each other. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to speed up the video slightly, so not too fast, but so you can see how the flower pops off the page once you get these petals coloured individually. So once I'm happy the flowers have got even coverage and the alcohol has evaporated and the image has started to pop, I'm now going to move on to the green leaves. And it is exactly the same concept. I'm using 3 shades of green from the same colour family, and I'm going to move from light to dark and dark to light. So there are 4 or 5 leaves on this image, so I will start with one, and like I've just said, same concept, start with your lightest colour first and work from the centre out towards the point. Move with the lines, don't work in the opposite direction to your lines. The lines are there for a reason, so work with the lines. So I'm going to cover the whole leaf in the lightest colour first, and then I will move on to my second colour from the same colour family, which is a slightly darker green, and I'm just going to highlight the areas where I think it should be darker. So I'm following the lines down the centre, and that's going to give the leaf some depth, and then I'm going to put dark straight through the vein of the leaf, and this will create the illusion of having a curled leaf. Back to my middle colour to drag the dark colour out, and then to finish it with the lightest colour to blend it in together. And I will work through this concept on each of the leaves for this image. So if you've watched any of my tutorials in the past, you will know that I have a great affair with shadows in images. I am not a lover of flat images. I like them to completely pop off the page, so I always outline my images with a grey coloured alcohol marker. Now, if this is the first time you have done this, you can start out with a really light colour shade of grey and work around your image. What you will find is it will evaporate and probably disappear to nothing, but it is easier to start with a light colour and then move into a dark colour the more confidence you gain as you colour. So I'm just going to show you how I go around the image now. This is in the lightest colour, and it's that light that you can hardly see it, but I just wanted to show you that you can do it in the lightest and it will give you some depth but not enough. So I'll continue all the way around the image in the lightest one, and then I will then go round with the darker colour, which will then make it pop from the page. Now you can do this in many colours. I find that the colours that work with most images are your pale blues and your greys. They have a great undertone, so when the light hits it, it actually looks like it is a shadow and not necessarily an outline of a pen. So when I completed the colouring for this demonstration, I then look at the image and think, how am I going to put this into a card? And I decided to do something a little bit different with this one. I die cut the word celebrate straight out of the centre of the flower. And what I did was I used the same die and cut it out again, the word celebrate, in several pieces of white card. And what I did was I stuck all the die cuts together, and then the final one on top was the original one that I cut out of the flower. And then I placed it back into the image so it looked like a hidden message. I then heat embossed a little sentiment onto some black card, and then I popped it underneath. So looking at the card straight on, you can't really see the secret message, but if you tilt the card to one side, you'll be able to see it's got a cute little message in the middle. It's a super fun card. Don't be afraid to give it a go, and I hope you've enjoyed this tutorial. I have popped some imagery at the end so you can get a feel of what I actually did with this coloured image, and I hope you like what you see. If I've inspired you today, that is brilliant. Have a great day, everybody. Take care. Bye bye.